Hey everyone, it's Brian Underwood. I want to talk today just really about connecting with your audience or speaking. For 27 years as an entrepreneur, it's a muscle that I've had to build, and I think that I get a lot of questions or a lot of interest in people wanting to know how to connect at a deeper level or how to be memorable or how they can even present, so to speak, right? I call it connecting through presentations or having conversational presentations to where the best way to connect is through conversation. And I thought that I would just kind of share my thoughts on this really quick. Hopefully, you can take a nugget or two. I'll also share with you framework in which I use anytime that I'm talking to an audience, whether it's at a live event, whether it's on a social media platform, or just in general. But I'll tell you a story, and I know that this is a muscle that's tough for everyone. They say that speaking in public for a lot of people is worse than the fear of death. And one of the very first times that I gave a sales presentation, it was on the Star of Louisville in Louisville, Kentucky. I thought there would be an audience of 100 to 200 people. Made it down to the Star of Louisville, and there was 4 people in the audience. It was my dad, and it was 2 friends and 1 guest. And I'll never forget, I was supposed to be the speaker. I had some tools at that time. It was like 1992, 1993. I had a flip chart, and the flip chart actually had all of the script on the back. As I was giving a presentation when it came to telecommunications, right? And so I got up, and the script even said, "Hi, my name is," and it left a blank for you to fill in the blank. And then it said, "Smile." So like it told you what to do. So I got so nervous in front of 3 of my friends and 1 guest, 1 including my dad, that my voice started closing up, and I just started, I couldn't talk, right? I kept looking for water, and I never forget, because at the time I was like 20 years old. My dad, who is my hero, and I was looking to him to save me, right? He was my crutch because I knew that he had the confidence to speak, and he just kept looking at me with this big grin on his face and just smiling, like, "You got this, you got this." And so I literally fumbled my way through the next 25 or 30 minutes. I had sweat pouring down. I could hardly talk. And that was the very first time I spoke in public, as an adult. And I'll never forget how that felt. And then today I have people, asking me, well, how do you do that? And I can always reflect, and I can always go back to the very first time. And I share that story because I think it's important that in today's world especially, that we realize that when we speak, or if we're looking to share something, we have to have an outcome in place of connecting with others. Like, it should be focused on giving value. And the easiest way to do that is to get out of your head and into your heart. I was watching the 92nd Academy Awards this year. And anytime you see these awards, whether it's the Country Music Awards, Academy Awards, the Emmys, the Oscars, whatever it might be, you always have the celebrity and the winners get up, and they always have a speech or they share a moment, and some are always more memorable than others. And, this year I remember Laura Dern, who won Best Supporting Actress for The Marriage Story. She thanked her parents. And, I remember this because it connected with me because of how I feel about my parents, right? And when she thanked her parents, she thanked them by saying, some say you never meet your heroes. And I say that if you're really blessed, you get them as your parents. I share this with my acting heroes, my legends, and she mentioned her mom, Diane Ladd, and Bruce Dern, her dad, and she said, "You got game, I love you." And the reason I could remember this is because my parents were my heroes. They showered me with a foundation of love and support. And so I could connect with that immediately. And so another person, Joaquin Phoenix, who won the Best Actor in The Joker, had a super emotional speech or emotional quote with a lyric written by his late brother, River Phoenix. And he quoted that, and I just remember when he was giving, his acceptance speech, the level of appreciation and gratitude, the empathy that I felt because of remembering his late brother, right? It's almost like his why. And he said, running to the rescue with love and peace will follow. And so my point by saying all this is that every time that we're presenting or every time that we're speaking, or every time we're sharing, it's an opportunity to truly connect with others. And I think so many people get in their heads and they worry about the information. And listen, no one wants a sales pitch. No one wants a presentation. They're boring, right? I used to always say this: if you give a speech, it doesn't bring any value to the world unless it emotionally connects with other people. And so whether you're in a stage in front of thousands of people, whether you're in an intimate setting or a party, or whether you're at all alone at home filming something for an Instagram Live or one of the social media platforms, there's a quick framework that I'd love to share with you. And I think that TED Talks are a great analogy as well, because I think sometimes we have to remember that short is sweet, less is more. So, TED Talk is a platform where they give a lot of great information from academias, researchers, thought leaders, and they have like a 17-minute presentation style, right? Not a hour and a half long lecture. But I think that for me, this is some tips that I can give you that I use every time that I'm getting ready to do something as I go inward to my heart. The most important thing is knowing my outcome. What is ultimately my outcome with talking, right? What is it that I want to achieve? So even if I get sidetracked through telling a story that people can connect with, or, I get up in my head, I can always rebound as long as I know that if my outcome's achieved, it was a win. And in order to know your outcome, you have to be prepared. Know what you want to accomplish before you start speaking, right? Because there's literally a dozen or 24 roads that will get you there. So remember to know your outcome, and be prepared to get there, right? And be prepared is maybe knowing what story you're going to use, or knowing what framework or steps or lessons that you're going to leave behind. But know your outcome ultimately. The second one is be personable. Like, to me, being personable is more important than anything. Like, be yourself. But you want to connect with others. If you're doing a presentation, if you're doing a TED Talk, if you're wanting to bring value to someone and educate them, the best way to connect with them is to be personable, right? If you think about the stories that we relate to the most, or the speeches we relate to the most, or the presentations, whichever term you want to use, it's always the ones where the people that are speaking, we can relate to them at some level, right? So when you're personable, the goal should be to give your audience, or give the viewers that are watching you, a glimpse of truly who you are. Like, put down the wall, let down the wall, and let them inside of you. Let them know who you are. And so, that means anything about your family, a disease, a situation, something that you've overcome to become, something that you're truly passionate about. Like, be yourself and people can relate. If you tell a story about your youth that's a real story, then people automatically in their brain will go back to their youth and start thinking about a similar story, which makes them do what? Connect with you on a personal level. So don't be afraid to open up and share with people who you really are. The day of being a guru and building up a wall, or building up a persona that's false, is over, right? And so be personable. I'll tell you, you should check out a book by Lee Steinberg. he wrote a book called The Agent, My 40-Year Career in Making Deals and Changing the Game, right? And one of the things that he said was that viewers need to emotionally relate to the actor or the athlete. So they need to think that in addition to their performance on screen or out on the field, that they can associate that this is an amazing person, right? And when they do that, they'll go to their movies, they'll buy their memorabilia because they feel a deeper seated connection. And think about the athletes that you're the most connected to or the celebrities. There's probably something connecting you to them that you either see a piece of you in them, whether it even from a heart or a value perspective, or you feel like you really know them on a personal level. So check out the book. It'll help you be personable. The third thing, which I think is super important, they did this big generic report. They interviewed, all of these thought leaders, CEOs, strategists, speakers, and every one of them contributed that gratitude was one of the most important elements of a speech or a presentation. So number 3, anytime that I get in front of an audience, the one thing that I want to make sure that they feel for me is gratitude and an honest show of appreciation, right? Anytime we get an opportunity to share value with others or we have a platform to speak from, we should truly be grateful and be a steward of that and be grateful to those that are listening, right? And once we go into a state of gratitude, gratitude is an ultimate tool to help us eliminate fear, right? Fear is false evidence is appearing real, but when we're grateful, it gives us strength. And every single person that's listening to this, each and every one of you, you have something to be grateful for. It's an incredible tool, but it's also something important to make sure that you're expressing and you're emphasizing, right? And it's not fake sincerity. I used to always say the greatest gift that some people have is the art of faking sincerity. Don't be a fake. Sincerity today is rare, but it's a wonderful gift, right? And it looks different depending on the personality. But just be you. I mean, some people, it's tough for them just to get real with themselves, let alone to get real with others. But I can tell you, if you can become grateful, it helps you become more real and show real appreciation. Find something you appreciate in that moment, right? Find something that you appreciate in that moment and share it with everyone. Because everyone's bullshit radar today is high. It's higher than ever before, meaning people can distinguish real from phony. Some, it might take a little bit longer, but I do believe that there's a certain vibration that comes from that. And if you're in your head all the time, it's hard to feel the genuineness, from someone. So remember that something that will help you connect is showing true appreciation, honest appreciation. Be genuine in the way that you show it, and that means let them know why you appreciate it, why you're grateful. And then finally is be authentic. Be the authentic you. Whoever you are, be you. We don't have to become someone else. What we have to do is just have the courage to be more of who we really are. And so be authentic in your approach. Be authentic in what you're sharing. It connects every time at a level that is not just surface. And so, there was I don't know if you all remember the TV show Scandal. I got so addicted to it. It was like 6 seasons in or 7 seasons in. I think I watched it in one weekend. Yes, I am a binge watcher of TV. But it was funny because there's a lady named Judy Smith who is a crisis management consultant. And she actually was a former advisor to President George Bush. And so she was the inspiration behind that TV series. And she's helped celebrities with breakups, drug busts, DWIs, like everything, right? She was the scandal. She was the fixer. But she says that people have to realize in a moment of spotlight, that's the best opportunity to be authentic and to truly leave a mark, right? And so the best way to be sincere is just that. It's actually to be sincere. And so with that being said, those are like my key 4 points that I go to. That's the framework that I operate by anytime that I speak or go to an event. I'm never worried about a clock. I'm always worried about outcome first. I become prepared. I'm personable. And I make sure that I show up with honest appreciation for where we're at, what we're doing, and I let my gratitude be known. So, one of the first things that I am truly always appreciative of is right now you're listening to this, and you're giving your time to this information and to me. And I know that your time is the most valuable commodity that each and every one of us have in the world. Think about it. And we get to choose who we give our time to and how we spend our time. And so for you spending your time listening to this, that I'm truly appreciative for. And, I don't take that for granted. And I don't want to betray that trust that you put something into this, even if it's for 10 or 15 minutes, so you can get something out of it, right? So my point being, always show up with grateful and honest appreciation. And then finally, be authentic. Be you. At whatever level that is, it will connect every time. So remember, if you want to connect through presentations, connect through conversations, and again, the 4 things: know your outcome, be prepared, be personable, be grateful and show honest appreciation, and finally, be authentic, right? Be you and continue in the path to becoming the best version of yourself. Hopefully I said at least one thing that you can take and incorporate into, for a lot of you doing social media, creating attraction. Some of you are looking to, speak in stage in front of audiences, give lectures. So with that being said, continue to be yourself and be positive and confident in all you do. We'll talk to you soon.